Once again, I want to say thank you for tuning in into our leadership class, The Art of Leadership with Apostle Jethro Malinzisa. Thank you so much for taking your friends. Thank you for liking this page. Thank you for your comments. We are really grateful for you, and we trust God to add value in your leadership style, or we trust God to add something. These are just nuggets. These are thoughts. It's just suggestions. You can take them, implement them, but it all depends to you. But just remember this: everything rises and falls on the type of leadership you have chosen. And for our discussion this period or this season, since last week, it's on justice and judgment. We are taking some of the thoughts from this wonderful book by Bishop Doug Hewitt Mills on Bema, Judgment and Justice, and some thoughts from these great writers, Dr. Miles Monroe and others. I'm sure if you can go to any bookshop, you will get these books and be encouraged to add value on your leadership style. Today, we are continuing on the importance of judgment and justice in leadership. Doing judgment and giving justice are very important and fundamental to the building of a family, of a church, of an organization, be it your business, be it your country. You need judgment and justice. Why it is so important? There are 7 thoughts I just want to touch in this few minutes. Judgment and justice are weighty matters of the law. Even with God, to do justice and judgment, it is more acceptable. The Bible tells us through the writing of a wise man, Solomon, the ancient king who was so wise. In one of his books, chapter 21, in point number 3, he says, to do justice and judgment is more acceptable to the Lord than even sacrifice. The Jewish rabbi, the young man who changed the course of history, Jesus, his name, he also mentions in Matthew 23:23 that you have omitted the weightier matters of the law, which are judgment, mercy, and faith. This ought you have to do, and not to leave others undone. Jesus was like putting justice and judgment above even sacrifice. The lack of justice and judgment is a root cause of offense that breeds disloyalty. Most wars are caused by injustice. When people believe that they are treated unfairly and unjustly, they tend to fight, looking for justice. Therefore, justice and judgment are weighty matters of the law. Don't ignore it for your company to succeed. Number 2, judgment and justice are to be studied and understood, and you must learn it as a leader. The wise man Solomon says in his first book of the Proverbs, from verse 1 to 3, he says, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, which are justice, judgment, and equity. You must learn justice. You must learn judgment. People, they go to training in the court of law just to know and understand how to do fair judgments. Learn justice, learn judgment as a leader. It will stabilize your organization. Number 3, judgment and justice are the principal work of any leader. 2 Samuel 8 verse 18 says, David reigned over all Israel, and David executed judgment and justice unto all his people. Being fair and even-handed is the master key to a stable throne. Every leader must administer justice and judgment at all times for the progress of the organization. A leader who always is in between two thoughts or two opinions will soon lose credibility. As a leader, be bold, be decisive, make that hard decision, for it is your principal duty to do so. God raised David to do justice and judgment. In 1 Kings 10 verse 9, the Bible says, "Blessed be the Lord thy God, which delighted in thee, to set thee on the throne of Israel, because the Lord loved Israel forever. Therefore, he made you the king to do judgment and justice." Point number 4. In life, one is normally chosen by his or her ability to institute judgment and justice. Genesis 18 verse 19. Many people always think that Abraham was chosen just because he was righteous or because of his faith. But there's an angle that God chose him for also, which was his ability to institute judgment and justice. "For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken of him." We see him executing justice and judgment during the time when he was about to separate with Lot. He said, choose Lot, because this kind of conflict cannot make us to be good brothers. We don't need conflict. Choose. He was able to judge the situation. One cannot be promoted to a place of authority if you are not prepared to practice justice and judgment. Learn to be fair to all by understanding what people experience on either side of the fence. Number 5, judgment and justice establishes lasting organization. Proverbs 24 verse number 4. The Bible tells a godly leader who values justice is having a great strength and an example to the people. Now, when you want your organization to last, make that decision. People must know that you are not afraid to take decisions. Where there is no judgment and justice, that entity will not prosper or be established. Number 6, where there is no judgment and justice, evil spreads like leaven. When there is no justice and judgment, evil multiplies and become like leaven that is spreading through a door. Number 7, finally, where there is no judgment and justice, there is always oppression and violence. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse number 8. If you see the oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at that matter. I want to submit to us that where there is no one to administer justice and judgment, violence and oppression emerges as a prominent force. The difference between well-developed countries and less developed countries is often the absence of justice and judgment. It is important to fight for justice, judgment, and fairness. The absence of judgment and justice will destroy your family, your church, your business, your country, your organization. If you do not fight for justice and judgment and equity, you will end up fighting useless and needless and fruitless wars. Today, I challenge you, have justice, have a judgment, put it in place, execute it, be bold. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. See you in the next section. From me and the crew, want to say #Lendaba Isahamba Njalo. Thank you.